Ooh. All right. This is very last minute, so sorry if I'm kind of all over the place, but we have KTL matchup Triad of Magic Duck versus Karen. So we got Aemberstorm versus Reapout. Magic Duck is also local, so very excited to cover this. Didn't know it was happening until about 2 minutes ago, so should be a good time. So let's take a look at our decks really quick. I will make this prettier for the recording, but I want to let them get going, and I need to get going on some other stuff, but this should be a fantastic matchup. So on, let's see, Magic Duck sides, we've got Winds of Exchange, Warrior, Hella Senora, Zach Stanfield. Oh yeah, okay, I know this one. Triple or double befuddle, triple pale to insignificance, double brick nasty, signal fire with lots of good stuff in here. Just very high value, double legionary trainer. Very high value Winds of Exchange deck. Pretty solid, pretty fast, pretty scary with those befuddles and the double illusions. It's just good. Doesn't necessarily have answers to a lot of things, but you have to answer it fast, otherwise it's just gonna fly ahead. I'm not gonna try and pronounce this one, so we'll just call it the Grim Reminders deck. Let's see. Got our Dr. Z with no Rebel in there, but we do have some really good stuff. With the target, we've got Multidimensional Rescue with triple Retro Technician Lee, and then some cool stuff going on in the Equidon. Let's see. I'm not sure if I've actually played against this one much. I know the triple Retro Technician Lee is something that they've used in some alliances, but I don't know that I've played this just as an Archon deck too much. But I mean, you can see it in the stats. The triple Lee is just super, super hard to remove. Once it gets on the board, you kind of have to just keep dealing with it. And then with this Mars, you kind of get a lot of value off of the creatures you're putting on the board with the Lees. Double Shopping Spree is going to give you plenty of efficiency and all that, so cool stuff there. Let me make sure game hasn't started yet. Last one for Magic Duck is going to be another Grim Reminders with triple Recklessness. We've got the big one, double Near Future Lens. This one I have played against the Geistoid, double in here somewhere with Well of Memory. So this kind of creates this like really strong kind of loop where you kind of just keep recurring these in here somewhere is in the Well of Memory and the Veil of Ectoplasm and stuff. It gets really, really strong, but it's supported so well by the double Recklessness and the Near Future Lens. This is really scary. I mean, they're all scary. No one's deck coming to this Triad is not scary. Not a ton of artifact control, and this one is also going to be a little bit low on the creature control, but definitely some tough choices there for Karen. Let's see what Karen's bringing. More Grim Reminders. This is going to be probably brutal. We have another triple Retro Technician lead deck, so we could see those face off, which could be pretty awesome. What else is going on here? Double Distant Void Prover, another Doctor's Loxofrex without the Rebel on that one. We do have a Felix the Disintegrator though. Crop Circle is very, very strong if you've got some of the archiving to go with it. We've got Grim Reaper, Dark Memento, double Thought Catcher on there. Okay, so this one, plenty of capture pips too, so probably trying to get a lot of value off of those Thought Catchers. And just Grim Reminders value again, always good stuff. Interesting to see. I'm glad neither of these are like just the strict Winds key abduction. You know what I meant, Cloggin. I'm too frazzled. Don't mess with me. I gotta make sure we're good to go here. We've got Oakhorn. This is a Karen signature deck. Double Eddie, double Kirby, double Garcia. It's just one of those Worlds Collides decks that can just run you over if you're not really dealing with kind of the board as it's coming out. It's got the Neutron Shark, which is super good value. Yeah, this is going to be one of those like very practiced decks that kind of just looks like a bunch of good stuff, but in the hands of someone at Karen's level, it just is very, very difficult to beat. Yeah, so excited to see that one. And then finally, Professoressa, also old school Karen deck. Yeah, Time Traveler, Key to Dis, Overlord Grekking, Triple Zakio with the Epic Quest, with the Arise. So you have to kind of be aware of that Arise coming, hitting this Sanctum, and then getting that free key off of that. Again, Magic Duck not bringing a ton of artifact control, so that's very much alive if he decides not to ban this one. Professor Essa, I know I've covered some matches in KFPL before, or sorry, yeah, the Keyforge Premier League before. I think Ocorn was in one of those as well. But, you know, these are both very high-end players. Looks like they have bans up. And we've got on Magic Duck's side, Burdette has been banned. Makes sense. I think, especially if Karen's played against this before. It's a scary deck. It's a very, very scary deck. And then on Karen's side, we've got Oakhorn being banned. So again, kind of that really lockout and tax especially are going to be a little bit tougher for the Grim Reminders key cheat ones to sort of deal with. So, you know, I'm just going to trust both of these players. They know their decks, they know their matchups a little bit better than me. But that's what we've got. So we will get to see Professor Essa come down, as well as V.A. Vinceland of the Hyper Boathouse going against Hella Senora Zach Stansfield, and this one. All right, I think we're good to go. So we got Magic Duck up top and Karen down at the bottom. Karen starting with Professor Essa and Magic Duck on Hella. So both going to be fairly aggressive decks. Professor Essa a little bit, now they're both on the disruptive and speed side is basically what's happening here. So we've got the Befuddles and Illusions on Magic Duck's side, just kind of really controlling what's going to be able to be played. That could be really big if Karen is building towards that library access turn. Those wild wormholes will actually just fail if a Befuddle has been played for something other than Logos, so that could just really slow down that turn if Magic Duck is able to time that right. So we've got some fast play already. We've got Duma the Martyr coming down along with a Sergeant Zakiel, just going to have that Duma run right into the Praetor Marius, get some damage on it, get some draw, and then get this Whispering Reliquary along with a Blinding Light. So already 4 Sanctum cards from Karen's side on turn 1. And there we see a Befuddle going to be stopping anything other than Sanctum. Karen goes back into Sanctum quickly, going to fight the Netcaster off. Bounces the Whispering Reliquary back to hand and then plays it again. Sadly, no enhancements in this set, so not getting quite the value off of that one that it could in later sets. But I don't think this one's actually been reprinted yet. Might be wrong, but we have the new Gorm now. That's kind of the replacement for this. All right, so we've got Barabnar coming down from Magic Duck, getting a good lineup here, going with the Brick Nasty, getting a pound to finish off that damaged Zakiel, and then getting some other creatures down. Again, we won't know what these tokens are until they get destroyed. They sound like pop star names. They're not bad, right? Professor Essa and Hella. I mean, Hella is just, that's the, I mean, originally it's from Norse mythology, but like we all really know that because of Thor, right? Because of Marvel movies. We've all had to learn our Norse mythology better. So a little bit of a slower turn there on Karen's side. We just got a phase shift, putting some upgrades down, getting Spectral Tunneler down. discarding some creatures because that brick is just going to get value off of them anyways, and Magic Duck just going to town with this big board. Karen does have some answers to deal with the big board, but they're pretty much all in dis, and one of them at least is going to be a little bit slow with that key to dis. Getting some Sanctum out here just to get some stronger creatures on the board. We do see that Frankus being able to take out the Brick Nasty, which will at least slow down these warriors from getting as much value, but still a lot to deal with, and that is a lot of Sanctum from Karen's side already. We have not seen hardly any dis yet, so the library access turn is looking pretty solid. Just getting most of that Sanctum kind of milled out to begin with, especially if we see that arise later on for all of these Sanctum creatures. That could be huge with the Epic Quest. All right, so we see another Unfathomable turn from Magic Duck here. Going to be putting the Under Pressure on Sergeant Ezekiel. We do have the Illusions of Grandeur. This card, this one is pretty pipped out. It's got double Capture Pip on it, as well as the Amber Pip. Telling Karen to go back into Sanctum there, or give me 3 Amber. Karen not having any kind of really big Amber control here, so Karen just gonna give him the extra 3 and putting out some of this disruption, probably just to kind of keep that handcrafting going. Really needs to get to that big library access turn to kind of reset things a little bit here, but is looking a little good. That early fight with the Crim means we don't have another Brick Nasty in hand, so that is lucky for Karen. Do you see the Catch and Release get... Was that discarded last turn? Yeah. Catch and Release discarded last turn. Not a huge card in this matchup, unless you're kind of behind on board already as Magic Duck, and Karen has done a library access turn, and you're trying to disrupt some of that, but... as we can see, Magic Duck is definitely on the favored side as far as the board is going at the moment. We'll see if Karen can turn that around. Hysteria definitely does hurt this board, especially if these tokens are kind of in your Saurian house or whatever. You do get a little bit more disruption of having just lots of different creatures from different houses in your hand. But if that Hysteria doesn't come down soon, it's going to be pretty tough for Karen to kind of come back on this board. The Warriors just continuing to fight because they have to. So Karen is going to get a little bit of Amber there. A lot of it is already captured on these dinos over here. But this big Brobnar board is just going to be a challenge to deal with. And we do see some discarded Logos cards there for Karen. Just hasn't found the library access yet and doesn't want to give up the fighting just in case another Brick Nasty comes down. So does get a little bit of damage from the Twin Bolt there, but Twin Bolt is not going to do much against this board on the whole. We do see that second Legionary Trainer was one of the tokens, and that Crim Torchtooth getting destroyed as well. All right, this is the first slower turn either of them have started with. Both players playing very fast, which I don't mind because we got a couple games to get through here, and just shows these players know what they're doing with these decks. Going back into Unfathomable, we do still have another... You see, another Illusions and possibly another Befuddle coming. Again, we don't know what these tokens are. There's the second Illusions, gonna put Karen into Sanctum. Interesting call there after the Logos turn, but we'll see if there's also a no Befuddle to follow it up with. We do have a Crushing Deep for just the Amber value. Karen just going to give up another 3 Amber there, go to the Dis turn and do a Rise for Logos. So doing that to set up for the library access turn. And then a Drumble coming down to at least stop the key for 1 turn. But Pale Insignificance is a pretty good answer to a single Drumble, especially having 3 of them in this deck. Welcome in, Data Forge stream, Zoc. Good to have you here. Thank you all for being here on such short notice. I didn't even post this anywhere. but there was a call of need and I was laying on the couch, so this worked out. We do have the library access turn happening now, and there was no befuddle, so they should be very live with 2 wild wormholes still in the deck. We've got the Help from Future Self going early to reshuffle, and Time Traveler coming down now, and we're just going to keep going again with those discarded Logos creatures now coming down to get the draw value. And this should be, yeah, a pretty big turn. We've got the phase shift. Let's see. Yeah, that was off of a phase shift to play the Hysteria there, which is going to do a big bounce. Get Karen up well past check for key 1 on 12. Oh, awesome. I appreciate that, Ketzer. I'm sure plenty of people do if they're following, but I'm sure plenty of those get ignored if they're just on the phone as well. I need to ask some of these other Discords to get the bots like Cloggin's got going on his channel. All right, so we've got some more stuff coming down. This library access turn gonna be a bit. Wild wormholes not doing too much of significance here. Almost like Cloggin knows what he's doing. So I gotta repeat the chat because I haven't gotten chat showing up on the screen yet. I'm trying to figure out if I actually want to do that or not, but since you're here to engage, gonna try and engage instead of just doing these as strict recordings of myself, because that's never quite as fun. Okay, so we end with 13 Amber on Karen's side, a couple of creatures down, had to hide the Titan mechanic from being on the flank because Magic Duck was already in check with plenty of Amber, and gonna end this turn with plenty of Amber again, especially with a Brick Nasty coming down. Only gonna get to fight off of the Shocker. Oof. Finds the Rant and Rive, so gonna blow up half of Karen's Amber there. Still gonna be in check at 6, but for a turn that really needed to turn this around for Karen, that Rant and Rive timing is huge. And now just facing down this Brobnar line, and Magic Duck on 10 Amber, and has the Signal Fire out just to be able to use this line even off of an off-house turn. If that Brick Nasty doesn't get removed, that's still going to be tons of value. All right. I trust this community with their message. Well, maybe I should hold off on saying that. No, it's always fun to have the community stuff in there, but again, kind of a lot of a new setup, which I'm really excited about, but it is just taking some work to get everything where I want it to be. So really big disc turn here, getting the key out, getting the Drumble down to stop this key one more time. Getting a bunch of these disruption creatures out, but again, that Signal Fire basically just, it's just going to decimate this turn, and Magic Duck is going to be able to do something else. Sorry, I just didn't see you low enough to call you animals. No, y'all are great. I really appreciate y'all coming in, and especially looking past my lack of glasses and slightly learned Southern accent. I don't feel like I have one. The word y'all is just too convenient. Because it's just so encompassing that I have been picking that one up a little bit, but otherwise I am strictly Midwestern, which is the most boring accent in the world, I think. Uses the Titan mechanic to reap there. So Karen did have a chance to Dominator Bobble to fight the Titan mechanic into Brick. Opts not to, and we're probably going to see that. Well, yeah, we'll see if it matters too much. There's probably not a difference between 14 or 10 Amber as far as the Amber control here goes, but we'll see what all Magic Duck has up his sleeves. There were 10 cards in hand at the start of this turn, so some of that coming from... Don't stop my train of thought like that, Glocken. Not that you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The most boring accent is on the wall. I'll start looking for green screens. I'm sorry. It's without my glasses on, it just becomes like this massive beige wall just all the way across. It's great. Magic Duck did have 10 cards in hand here to start the turn because of the Hysteria. So gotta imagine there's a little bit more heat coming from this Unfathomable. All I can really think of it is the last Befuddle, which, I mean, that's probably about all we need. We do see that Signal Fire get popped here, so just going to be some fights into lots of different things. There goes the Drumble. Going to be getting more amber from the Brick Nasty, which will then fight into the Time Traveler just to make the keys cheaper as well by exposing that Titan mechanic. Leaves the Succubus alive, doesn't really matter because still has 8 cards in hand. And there's the Befuddle to go back into Dis, which we know. Yeah. Could have had an Arise there to replay the Drumble, but that is going to be it. All right, that is game 1 taken by Magic Duck. Well played both. That was tough to know. I think that's probably a tougher matchup for Professor Essa, but I think Professor Essa just needs to pop off a little bit faster with that library access, because we saw how impactful that library access was once it came down. But that Rant and Rive especially was very demoralizing. It's probably the right word for it. Okay, so we know Magic Duck is going to be on the Grim Reminders. Karen going back into Professor Essa. Again, in Triad, you have to win with both, so everyone has different plans on whether they go for that one or not. Go for the same one. Early key to Dis could be pretty impactful here. Again, this deck not having any artifact control. I notice. I have to go back and edit this stuff and just watch myself. Maybe I could put some like just floating like animated glasses over myself. I don't think I can do that. 1, I don't have the skill, and 2, that would be weird. Okay, Brain Dart coming down just for the Amber. Dr. Z coming down, and oh no, Dr. Z was already down from turn 1. So discarding the Proliferator like a correct Mars player should, and then reaping with the Doctor, getting the Proliferator back, who's then going to be able to reap and archive the Brain Dart. And getting the Red Death out. So another big board control turn start for Magic Duck here. But Karen has the answer in the key to Dis. It is early to be popping that. Not too many ways to get that back outside of the reshuffle from the Help from Future Self. But we'll see. Dust Imp comes down. Going to get a little bit of Amber off of the board wipe there. Discards Drumble and discards the Arise. So some of those combo cards coming out earlier than Karen would have wanted, but again, this deck just going to be going for that library access turn to kind of reset and get some value there. All right, Magic Duck going into Star Alliance, getting some filtering going with the survey, see what they discarded. Ooh, discarded the last Lee. Interesting. Want this one in the discard, ready to be played by another Lee. Not haunted yet, so this one didn't come down ready. And there's some of that Sanctum beef coming down. This deck, I don't think had a ton of creature control. It kind of has to use its own creatures to really do that. We do have the pull-up stakes for bounce, and the Red Death is a big part of that. Scoop Up and the Quintrino Warp, so nothing too crazy there. So this stuff might sit here for a little bit, which is what Karen is going to want, especially if Karen can find that Epic Quest, which we also did not see at all in game 1. Welcome in, Fudgenator. Yeah, we'll see if this disrupts my evening a little bit too much. I should have had some dinner made before this probably, but I think these games should go pretty quick. There's already the Triple Lee coming down with that discard and draw. Some beef on the board with that Alien Horror. Once you're haunted, at least. It is not too big yet, but I mean, just 5 creatures. Karen's going to have to be fighting into this with the Sanctum just to kind of keep things under control. We do have a Virtuous Works there. Again, something else we didn't really get to see go off in the last game. Frank is going to be fighting for a capture to keep Magic Duck off the key. They were in check there. And then just fighting all of those Lees off because 3 Lees just continuously repeat themselves. It's pretty nasty. Can't remember if he has ways to get those back. We do have the multi-dimensional rescue, which can get those back later in the game as well. Going into Mars, we see that Brain Dart that got archived coming down just for some extra capture on the Frankus. Almost haunted there, but not quite enough, so just going to scoop up the Frankus instead and that Alien Horror. And Grabber Jammer comes down, and a Jammer Pack. Karen was not at check anyways, but making sure of it now. Some of this Mars and bursting to 10 Amber. So just really flying with this Grim Reminders deck as well. Getting plenty of Amber. Do have a Logos Call here, getting the Spectral Tunneler down, Blinding Light on the Grabber Jammer, and a couple Ganymede Archivists. Expect we're about due for a Equidon turn. We've only seen the Grizzly exchanged even discard so far, so yeah, Triple E is very, very nasty. I was saying before, Magic Deck has tested this Triple E pod with a Bryozoark deck against me, and it was not fun. Bryo just kept coming back. And I did not have a way to purge it, but it's a pretty good deck on its own too without the Alliance. So we've got the uncommon currency. So I did miss that in the deck overview. That is actually a pretty solid artifact control for dealing with the Epic Quest now, if that comes down. Key to Dis is already gone, otherwise I'd say I'd probably go for that as well, but we're just getting some cards out there. We got a security detail for some extra capture, and seems to be thinking about another call. I could see that being a shopping spree or being pull-up stakes. Either one of them are kind of risky here. They kind of backfire a little bit on you, depending on what you're trying to do with your handcrafting. Oh yeah, for sure. Professor Essa you should never count it out. We saw last game, like that library access turn is huge, and then the recursion that you can get after that can be really brutal to wade through. Does decide to go for the Tutor Bin Rilo, so giving both players a draw there, or giving Karen a draw there, and then the pull-up stakes to just bounce everything to hand, which could be scary, bouncing those 2 Logos creatures. We haven't seen the library access yet, so that could have just given Karen more ammo, but it looks like Karen is going back into Sanctum here, just going to get those things back down. Going to get this fight off the Doom of the Martyr to get some extra draw as well. The 3 Sergeant Ezekiels in here are just awesome. But that is going to be the turn, so that is key number 2 coming through already for Magic Duck. 10 cards in hand, though, for Karen. Gotta wonder what she's seeing in there. That she wouldn't have played it last turn. We'll see. Grabber Jammer comes back down. Oh, and the Deep Probe. We'll get to see everything that's in there. Gonna go for the Logos creatures, of course. And seeing the hand there, we do see the library access and the Hysteria, but no more Logos creatures mean that combo really isn't doing much for you, and no Time Traveler in there as well, so really kind of needs to dig for some of those extra pieces. We have the Hysteria, but you don't really want a Hysteria these Sanctum cards at this point, I don't think. Interesting. So 2 Ganymede Archivists discarded. We've got Twin Bolt and Wild Wormhole. You might just go for it here anyways with those 2 cards, but that's yeah. I mean, like, it's hard to know, but the fact that, and she could have just gone for it that turn as well, but yeah, just gonna go for the library access anyways. We got the Wild Wormhole onto a Sergeant Ezekiel, gonna get a free fight here, and some extra draws. Sequo's gonna fight off the body, get that Amber back. Dimension Door. We gotta be getting close to that Time Traveler, which could really turn this turn around and make it that much more impactful. Second Wild Wormhole, gonna hit the Help from Future Self. I think that's probably good enough. That's Or trying to draw LA with Duma. That's actually a really good point. Zaka might have not been thinking about that, so hard to know. But that extra 2 cards could have been, because no matter what else she played that turn, she might not have drawn anything, but the Duma does give a little bit more draw. Okay, so we've got deck reshuffled. We do see some of those creatures coming down anyways because of the reshuffle. We've got the Time Traveler out now, Titan Mechanic coming down, up to 12 Amber, and there is no Rant and Rive in this deck. Not sure a whole lot what there is. Grabber Jammer is going to do some taxing. We could see the Multi-Dimensional Rescue now from the Lees. Titan Mechanic staying on the flank this time to get some extra key cost reduction. We do see a generous offer there from Magic Duck on the old Tinker. Security Detail going to capture a little bit more, and this Grabber Jammer is going to stay there to get some taxing as well. We do see a Shopping Spree. A Tutor Bin Rilo gets discarded for both players to draw 1. And then uses the uncommon currency to swap with the Dominator Bauble. Alright, so Karen forging for 6 there because these two are offsetting. Goes right into Sanctum with a double Virtuous Works Blinding Light. And then I wonder if we'll see the Epic Quest come down as well. Decides not to fight the Grabber Jammer. I guess we don't really know too much else of what's in Karen's hand at this point because of the Help from Future Self reshuffling everything. Okay, no Epic Quest, so we do just see that Ezekiel come down and get 1 extra fight to remove the Grabber Jammer. Check at 14 with a current key cost of 5 is plenty. We'll see what Magic Duck can do to kind of answer this at the end here. I'd expect it's going to be that multi-dimensional rescue, but that gets you a lot of Lees. But what are you going to bring back besides that is kind of the question here. You do get that free house cheat as well. Maybe the Jammer Pack. Or Shopping Spree could be interesting as well. Or just a generous offer. Yeah, this deck doesn't deal with the big bursts of Amber, so I think the goal here for Magic Duck is going to try and get to something that Karen can't answer, but we do know, let's see, there's a lot of dis left to be seen. That Drumble could come back down and stop something really quick. That is true, Fudge. We haven't seen the Control of the Week either. That could be basically the equivalent of a key cheat next round. Alright, so we have a Lee. Gets back Deep Probe and Pentacorder. Okay, so the Pentacorder are going to do some taxing as well. Deep Probes for the disc, so there goes the Drumble. We do have the Arise, so it ends up not mattering. But we also don't see the Control of the Week. So, man, that's really tough to see as Magic Duck. Like, how do you respond to that? Because that Arise basically means that discarding all of those, like, it's not enough. I guess we'll see if he thinks about this, but I guess if you just go to 6, no, because then the Seki can stop it. Yeah, I think there's an option there where you just go to 6, but you kind of have to get the value off of these things, so. Because what else is in here? Yeah, that Drumble is the only. Drumble and Seki are the only things, and there's no other. No other creatures to put next to Titan Mechanic, so man. Oh, and he's able to kill the Sanctum too. So we're going to tax for 1, but Karen is now on 8 for key 3. And Karen's just going to be able to arise and Hysteria and get all of that. So I think, I don't know if any of you all are checking that math on for me, but I think if Magic Duck goes to 6 there, they actually have a chance of winning based on the information we saw. Karen would have the option to draw with the Spectral Tunneler, but Magic Duck is still haunted, but only 5 cards in hand. And I'm trying to think what we're looking at left. If it's more Starlights. This is game 2. Magic Duck took down game 1 against Professor Essa, against Karen on Professor Essa. And now we are on game 2, and it is very tight here at the end. This disc pretty menacing. We do have the rogue operations to steal, only steal 1, unfortunately, for Magic Duck. Hitting 2 Star Alliance cards. I'm not sure, even without that, if they had a out. Wall's coming down, nothing for it to pick up. Alien Horror. Terminator Alarm. Reaper Rumor Sower puts the key cost up to 7, but it is not quite enough. All right, so, I mean, it was a great game. Very, very tight. But that means we are on to game 3. We're going to have GR versus GR here. And I think of all of these that I've casted so far, this might be the first one that went to game 3. We've got game 3, this Thai or Vietnamese deck on Magic Duck's side versus another Grim Reminder on Karen's side. And yeah, this is going to be very interesting. So we have exact same turn 1 for Magic Duck with the Dr. Xylox coming down. Karen gets an early Haunted House with Grim Reaper as well. UFO not going to hit much there, just the Rumor Sower. Probably looking for another Mars creature to get down with this Dr. Xylox. Terrible Teammate's going to do some more handcrafting here. Discards the target because... Oh yeah, because of the Dr. Xylox. Boathouse, is that Karen's deck? So Grim Reaper is open to purging this Dr. Xylox, but I don't know if that's really worth it here. We do see that Near Future Lens coming down, but Magic Duck does have that uncommon currency that could take that. So we'll see. I think there's more artifact control in here though, right? We have a very large Retro Technician Lee coming down with the modular exoskeleton on it. Near Future Lens going to be showing us part of Karen's hand here. I'm not going to try and keep track of all that because it's a nightmare on here. Discards a Phlox'em Spewer and uses that Grim Reaper to purge itself and the Doctor. We do have a Shopping Spree, and we do have that uncommon currency coming down. Pull Up Stakes going to bounce that Lee, which probably going to come back down with that same exoskeleton on it. Tutor Bin Rilo going to do some handcrafting and get the draw for Karen there. But we are going to check on Magic Duck's side there. And in Haunted, which Karen is not yet, Karen getting a discard off of the Haunted House of Sabotage Mission. Near Future Lens showing Felix the Disintegrator, but I don't think there's a way to ready and use that on the Mars turn, but I might be wrong. Could be some discarded Void Probers just for some self-capture to stop this key. Ooh, just gonna play it. Gets the Felix down, Loyalty Implants, Destructive Analysis. Just gonna deal some damage to the tutor. And there's a Doctor with a Capture Pip on it. Okay. So that is going to stop the key, and it does present, again, some creatures that Magic Deck really needs to be able to deal with here. Starting with Starlines, so again, those Lees are active now that we're on 10 cards or more. The pipped out one is in the discard already. Alien Horror coming down and is large now. Ooh, Quintrino Warp going to take out all of that Mars and that Alien Horror so that he doesn't have to kill the tutor. And we've got our first Lee down. See if he's found the second one, but if nothing else, this will probably bring back this Lee, and then see what else. Discarding the Grabber Jammer due to this Lee's discard, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Grabber Jammer coming back, but we do see the Multi-Dimensional Rescue get discarded off of the Rogue operation, so it is stealing 2, but that is a pretty rough card to lose there on the random discard. Got the walls bringing back the body as well, but nothing for the body to capture. All right, let's see how Karen can respond to this Star Alliance board. Again, the uncommon currency kind of hanging over as well, ready to take one of your artifacts. Finally getting some value from the Haunted House there with the last discard of the Reaver. Near Future Lens, going to play some Plague Wind. Okay, so that will take out a good chunk of this board, only leaving the body left. Oh, wait. Crop Circles, not Plague Winds. The next card is Plague Winds, so next turn we will see the Plague Winds wipe out this board. I do see a Crop Circles. There's nothing in the archive, so it's just going to be for one capture on this Lee. Trying to see what else we have for creature control here. We do have our own Quintrino Warp. That could be coming down. We are in Star Alliance right now. Could be more Lees. Okay, so there's the Into the Warp, which hit Perimeter Alarm on Magic Duck's side. So unlucky there, but that's how it goes. Karen knew she was hitting a Mars card on her deck. Do see the Lee come back now, and no more Lees in the discard yet, so I'm not going to be able to chain quite how Magic Duck was, but we do have the second one in hand, so we're going to see a couple creatures come out. One of them being the Doctor. So I think this matchup is really going to test the creature control on Magic Duck's side, which that Into the Warp was pretty brutal in that sense, so got the Distant Void Prober as well. So now this Mars is back, ready for that loyalty implants to do some house cheating. And this modular exoskeleton with the Lee is just very, very tough. It makes it a lot harder to kind of get rid of that chaining combo. Ooh, third Lee comes down. Gonna get a capture and brings back the Felix. So Magic Duck is gonna get this key for 6, but Karen now also on check for 6 and presenting a pretty terrifying board here. Lots of cards that can return the other cards here, and then just lots of value from this Mars. So we'll see what Magic Duck can do. Only on 5 cards because of the Quintrino Warp, and again, that multi-dimensional rescue is gone, so these Lees could come back if the last Lee gets found, but we don't know if that's in hand or not. Okay, so we do see Magic Duck bringing back their own Lee here, so gonna be able to chain those back out. But that might mean not a whole lot of creature control for this turn. Could be a Pentacorda though, could be some other taxing. We do see target. Magic Duck actually pulled the archives there too, so that Alien Horror not coming back down pulls the target to archive the multi-dimensional rescue. Maybe I was wrong about what he grabbed. Did I miss that? Oh, that was Karen's Alien Horror. I don't know. I might just be totally off. Very fast Star Alliance call there from Karen, though. He was not stopped, so opting to go for the multi-dimensional value. Yeah, 6 leads on board is pretty ridiculous. But it is different than Grim Reminders we saw at the Vault Tour, right? That was a lot of Winds of Death and stuff like that, and Witch Queens. So this is another side of Grim Reminders that is pretty cool, but also still terrifying and very strong. Got second Distant Void Prober coming down. We've got the Alien Horror on the board with the 10 power. Question is, if you start fighting some things off here, the Elliot probably does. Let's see. We have one Lee fights off the Tutor Bin Rilo, which had the captured Amber on it, and then this Lee will probably be bringing that one back. And then that one reaps, and only one creature left to bring back. Oh, 2 creatures. Harvest Skimmer or the Phlox'em Spear. Probably be the Phlox'em Spear, just... Oh, Reaver? Okay. Says one of those tricky things now. Do you decide to fight off a single Lee and still possibly lose it, or just go for reaping? Okay, so we do see the popped loyalty implant, so we're going to see a bunch of Mars stuff happening here too, and Phlox'em Spear is going to come out and wipe out all 3 of those Lees in one go. Oof, Felix the Disintegrator is going to dump 4 Amber from Magic Duck. Yeah, and we see all 3 of those guys get wiped out by the splash damage on that Phlox'em Spear. Every once in a while, Phlox'em, it does stuff. Elliot is going to reap. There are no more upgrades to grab. Oh, no. Yeah, no more upgrades to grab from the discard. Haunted House going to do one more. We do have 9 Amber on Karen's side now. And uses Near Future Lens to play a Dark Memento. And then discards an Infiltrator. All right, it is all readied up. Karen is on 10 Amber. It says key cost right now is 9, but that's because of the Distant Void Prober, so really key cost is going to be 6 on Karen's turn. The way it stands, we do know the multi-dimensional rescue is in the archives for Magic Duck. Magic Duck only has 2 cards in draw as well, so could be able to really control. Well, I guess if you go for the Quintrino Warp, you can basically wipe this board. But that does chain you again, and I guess you get the Lees out, so we'll see. We'll see what Magic Duck does, but this Amber total is a problem. Again, we saw last game not a ton of Amber control on that side, mainly just a couple steals and a few different capture pips. Okay, so we see the archives pulled, multi-dimensional rescue coming out. Very fast picks, Quintrino Warp, Retro Technician Lee, and a Pentaquarter. So we're going to get a little bit of taxing here as well, especially with, well, target's probably going to get destroyed. Ooh. Plays the Lee first. Interesting call there. So opting to just fill the board, reap out, and then do a board wipe. Doesn't mean the Pentaquarter's not really doing a whole lot here. See the walls come back out. That'll be getting that body. And there's the Quintrino Warp. And the body coming down for the extra capture and going to get that Pentaquarter on it. So we see a deep probe there as well, going for Geistoid creatures, but there are no Geistoid creatures in the hand. There are some Geistoid cards. Do you see Ectocharge in there, as well as Junk Restoration, Veil of Ectoplasm, so definitely some stuff that could get Karen close, but I don't know if it's quite enough for an Ectocharge this turn. especially with the pentaquarter giving a little bit more taxing. But Magic Duck is able to get the check there. But I gotta wonder if that sequencing was exactly what he was hoping for. So Karen, basically full knowledge now, able to grab 1 of 3 with the Junk Restoration. But can't do that and then play Veil. So Veil has to happen first. And that's going to be enough to stop the key here because there's a bunch of Geistoid cards in the discard already. By a bunch, I mean like only 3. Good synergy with the Reaver as well. So let me think, is this actually enough to just Ecto Charge? Maybe not with the Pentaquarter. I guess extra cards in the discard will reduce the Pentaquarter's taxing. So 1, 2, 3. If there's one more pip, is BR Geist played already? BR Geist is gone. Oh, Haunted House gets it. So I think with the Haunted House, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gets to 6 amber total. So guessing Karen is going through that counting right now, but I think that's going to be game off of the Ecto Charge. Taking some time, just going to be doing some double and rechecking of those numbers. This Reaver could actually just fight into the Pentaquarter body as well, which would get you 2 amber and reduce the taxing. But again, at 22 cards in discard, the tax is basically nullified. You just need 6 amber exactly in your pool to forge with Ecto Charge here. We've got 1, 2, 3 off of the... Oh, did there... Ecto Charge doesn't have a draw, so you just have to play the Veil before you play the Junk Restoration, because the Veil will make you draw through. You actually don't even have to play the Veil in order to get the Amber for the Ecto Charge. Okay, so there's the Veil. Gets us an airlock off of the Near Future Lens. I guess we could have seen what was on top with the Near Future Lens there. Have Junk Restoration to find those last 2. Gonna be Thought Catcher. Haunted House to gain 1. So we're at 3. Reaver's going to be 4 and 5 off of the Reap. And the Ecto Charge will have a 6th pip on it for the key cheat. Discarding Bad Chemistry, and there's the Ecto Charge. Wow. Some tight games. Good stuff, though. So you have it. Game 1 goes to Magic Duck. Games 2 and 3 go to Karen. Great to have a full series on one of these. That game 2 was just so close. I think it was very, very tight. Could have gone either way. This one a little bit more on Karen's favor for sure, with the way those kind of leads played out and stuff, and just being able to use that board a little bit more. But awesome. I'm glad we got to cover that. This is fun stuff. I will do some editing and get this posted on YouTube. But that is another round done. So that is going to be the Triad of Aemberstorm versus Reapout. I don't know if I've seen the other results, or, well, Reapout versus Aemberstorm. I don't know if I've seen the other results yet, so it's just that one. We'll see. Let's see where they are in the bracket. So we've got, they are up here. And we have a winner over here, Sloppy Lab Work, taking a commanding win of all 2-0s against Pub Crawlers. This looks like the first match here, so still nothing quite decided yet, but Karen getting the Aemberstorm the early lead. And the winner of this one will be against Sloppy Lab Work. So awesome stuff. Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching. again, short notice, but very, very fun. Love getting to do this, and I am going to hop off now, and we will see you all later. Thanks again.